Once again, welcome to VSA and thank you for staying with us on the program. Now, the Minister of Planning and Budget, Atiku Bagudu, has announced the budget proposal for 23 billion or trillion naira for the 2024 budget at the end of the Federal Executive Council meeting, which was held at the presidential villa in Abuja, Nigeria. Now, he added that the executive is required by the Fiscal Responsibility Act to present to the National Assembly ahead of a budget presentation a document which will provide the medium-term economic outlook for the economy. So basically, it is planning in advance. And this is coming as Nigeria's inflation rate climbs to 26.72%, marking a 0.92% increase from the previous month's 25.80%. Well, joining us now to have this conversation, I'm joined by Muktar Mohammed, the CEO, Finance with Muktar from Lagos. Thank you so much, Muktar, for joining us. Muktar, can you confirm you can hear us, please?
Yes, I can hear you. I say my pleasure.
All right, thank you. Now, Muktar, talking about the budget, the newly proposed budget, the expenditure framework is a requirement of the Fiscal Responsibility Act, and it is always a 3-year document. What is your thought on the proposal in general?
Well, the proposal is not bad, especially when you look at the oil benchmark. I think that's what excites me. For the first time, we are being conservative with the oil benchmark. The only issue I have is I'm looking at they say growth of about 3.2. I think that is highly ambitious, but it's still possible. All depends on how they are able to tackle the exchange rate and inflation at 21%. I think that's also conservative because when you have inflation at 26%, I'm sure they are looking at how they could tackle the exchange rate. Exchange rate at 700, I think, is quite fair because ordinarily that should be the official exchange rate if you look at the naira to the dollar based on current trend. So I think the budget looks it looks exciting, but again, the real challenge will come with projection on how they will fund this budget. Because when you look at that budget now, it's tied around crude oil. Will we be able to? And the crude oil benchmark they are terminal is about I think about is it 1.2 is it 2.1 million barrel per day, which is definitely the OPEC quota. Would they be able to meet that? I think that is my worry.
Right. Now, Mukhtar, still looking at the budget, it obviously includes the debt servicing as well. So comparing the debt burden in Nigeria and the inflation rate currently, would you say that it matches with what the budget is proposing?
No, definitely not. Because like I said, we're looking at the funding of that budget. Where would the fund come from? And that's one thing they need to explain to us. When you look at the inflationary pressures, you like I said, you are still looking at everything that has to do with exchange rate volatility and that's what is causing most of the hike in inflation that we are seeing at the moment. So will it be addressed before 2024? I hope so, but if not, I think it's not it doesn't look good if it's not able to be addressed at that time.
Okay. Now, at the meeting, it was also mentioned that there is a need to ensure that the monies allocated for several purposes can be spent within the time frame that they were allocated for. Is that a possibility in your own opinion?
That should not be a topic for discussion ordinarily because the system is not working. Why should you be allocating money for something and you're not sure if you're going to spend the money on that if you have a system on ground? I think what they are just playing with when it comes to budget. I think budget have not been a very serious matter in Nigeria. Maybe this is the first time they may make it serious, but budget have never been a serious matter in Nigeria. And not to forget what the one minister always say that is a former minister said some time ago. He said money approved is not money released. So sometimes it's not just about the allocations, about the release of these funds and if these funds are really available.
Now, Mukhtar, one of the analysts did mention, he made a comment that Nigeria seems to have the lowest budget per capita in the world. And, that got a lot of people wondering, is that because of the, inability to budget more or the lack of intention or the lack of willingness to do so?
You really have to use the two, maybe lack of intention and lack of willingness, because we budget more for recurrent expenditure. And when you talk about recurrent expenditure, you're talking about civil servants, you're talking about political appointee, you're talking about their special assistant. So at the end of the day, we don't seem to have money for capital expenditure. So it has to take a government that have a political will to say, look, this is what you need to do. You need to reduce your overhead costs in terms of appointees. But when you look at the current administration, with the way they go about appointing special advisors, appointing this and that, then you are not so excited, because it just will continue like it used to be. So you don't have enough fund to allocate to where that is capital expenditure that will touch the whole people, especially in the area of infrastructure.
Okay. Now, Mukhtar, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want your own personal opinion. In all sincerity and fairness, would you say that the moves that have been made so far by the current administration are the tough decisions that nobody seemed to want to have made for the longest time, and it is a step in the right direction?
I totally agree with you. They took the tough decision floating of the currency. They took the tough decision removal of subsidy. People might have said, oh, subsidy is back. I don't think so. They took those two tough decisions, and you've seen what those two tough decisions have resulted to: a lot of hardship in the land. Exchange rate has gone or over and above the window. But then again, they are looking at the long-term future of the country. I think they have taken a hard decision that every administration have not been able to take the bull by the horn, especially the administration of Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. At that time, even if they were the opposition party that was against it, that would have been the best time would have taken the decision. At that time, have a very robust reserve and a good exchange rate, and production quota was being made. Um, Production per quarter of OPEC were being met. But then it is what it is now. We are there, and they have taken this hard decision. I must say, yes, they did. What you say is exactly what they've been doing.
Okay. Now, in my introduction, I mentioned, the new plan for the FEC, that's the Federal Executive Committee, to meet more often now, and people are saying that it is absolutely unnecessary. What is your thought?
I can't but agree with them. I don't know how they have to meet every month, come up with memo. The Federal Executive Council is now becoming where you are supposed to go, and then they approve money for budget, money for planning, money for one project or the other. Instead of according to the constitution, they should have set up like a committee. I've forgotten the name that they are supposed to meet and look at all these projects, not for the Federal Executive Council to always meet with memo towards a particular project. For me, it's a no-brainer for us to be talking about we are meeting on Monday. How does that add to our GDP? How does that bring food on the table of Nigerians? How does that add to the currency coming down? I mean, the naira coming down to the dollars. For me, I just think it's just playing to the gallery. You can meet anytime you want to meet. What we are expected from people is to come up with reasonable policy that will turn around this economy, not by telling us that you meet on Monday and all you come to do there is to approve projects.
Okay. Now, we understand that this budget still needs to pass through the Senate. So, from your own predictions, do you think that the budget everything in the budget will be approved without debate? And if you think so, why is that?
Well, you never can say. Yeah, if you look at what is happening now at the moment, everything from Mr. President is rubber stamp. So if you look at that, you could say, yes, that's what is going to happen. But I don't see that happen in all aspects. If the history is anything to go by, the legislator will not leave the oil benchmark at what it is. They will increase it so that will also create more money for them to carry out whatever project they will say they want to carry out. So definitely, I expect a tweaking of that budget when it gets to the National Assembly. It might not be so obvious some of the things, but definitely I know that they want to increase the oil price, just because they would think that if you increase the oil price, increase more production, then more money for Nigeria, more money for them too.
Okay. Now, the budget as we see it is seemingly a step, but it's not the entire solution. So, I guess my question here will be, is it okay to say that we do need foreign investments now more than ever?
Exactly, we need it, and all the policy that the CBN have drawn out thus far is to attract foreign investors into the economy. So we definitely need them, especially foreign direct investors. Even if we need the portfolio investors to help our equity market or are born, and then to earn, so that the government will earn more effects into the economy to be able to stabilize the exchange rate. I think we need them more than ever before, especially with the rates that where the naira is going to the dollars.
And what are the things that you think we can at least achieve with this 2024 budget? At least by the end of 2024, where do you see the country's economy?
Well, if they implement it well, like I always say, Nigeria is not developed good document. We could see the economy come out of the red. I'm not expecting the economy to come out of the red in 2024. I expect it to happen in maybe first quarter of next year, but I mean 2025. But if they're able to implement this project and follow it to the latter, I think we might get light in the end of the tunnel towards half year next year.
So, how about the issue of hoarding and embezzlement? I know that in recent times it hasn't exactly come on the forefront of newspapers, but that's not to say that it's not still happening. So, if we're still having such cases, in amidst the administration, amongst government, on federal level, state level, do you think that we can achieve our goals with these set of people pulling us back?
We can never achieve our goal with same people expecting different results, definitely. So, but again, it's not about the people, it's about the structure. If you have a structure on ground, then they will not be able to do whatever they want to do. But we don't have structure, we have strong men. So we need to start building structures. If we're able to have structure on ground, then they will have no option but to allow it flow.
Now, speaking of structures, what kind of structures would you propose to curb those kind of activities?
There's only one structure that you can tell when it comes to corruption: make it digital. Make it digital. Let's see it digitally. Let's see how it goes. Let's be able to vet it digitally. And if you are able to do that, then you fight corruption. But if you think that you fight corruption maybe by taking them to the police station, arresting them, then you have to rethink about it.
All right. Now, in your opinion, generally, what is your hope for the country when it comes to the economic aspect? All right. Unfortunately, I think that we've lost Muktar there, but a big thanks to him in absentia for helping us understand the FEC meeting regarding the 2024 budget. And like we said earlier, this budget is yet to be approved by the Senate, and it's going to take a little time. But in the meantime, the budget has been proposed and it has been deliberated upon, including the fact that the FEC has said that they want to meet more often. Now, what you see on the screen says 26.01 trillion naira is what is budgeted or proposed for 2024. An oil price of $73.96 for its expenditures at an exchange rate of 700 naira per dollar is the estimation. Nigeria will also target oil production of 1.78 million barrels per day under the 2024 spending plan. 8.25 trillion naira for debt service, like we talked about, and 7.78 trillion naira to cover salaries and pension for civil servants. I think the question remains, how feasible is this plan? It's good that we're having projections and estimations, but are estimations going to be correct come 2024? If we keep going at this rate, are we not going to lose more money, run into more, have a higher level of inflation by that time? Hopefully not, but these are things that we need to ask ourselves whether or not these estimations will be correct at 2024. Thanks once again to Muktar for joining us to discuss Nigeria's economy as it is. You're still watching Village Square Africa, and when we come back, we're going straight to Angola to take a look at the planned attempt to impeach the president, João Lourenço, and his response to that attempt. Stay with us.